Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Valentin's YouTube video for 1984, Section 1. Today we're going to review some important information and the format of your test, and we'll go on from there. Alright guys, so the first part of your test is a matching column. The matching column will have a variety of terms used from the text that you should already be familiar with. So, some examples of words that you should be familiar with. Words like, you should know what like a child hero is. You should know terminology within the class, such as comrade, doublethink, speak right, anything that is similar to any of these. So that goes along with words like telescreen, thought police, police patrol, anything of that nature will appear on the matching column. You'll also want to be aware of the four ministries, the mini love, the mini packs, the mini plenty, and the mini true. So be aware of those. In case you forgot, the Ministry of Love is concerned with law and order. The mini packs, the Ministry of Peace, is concerned with war. The mini plenty is concerned with economic affairs. And the mini true is concerned with news, entertainment, education, and fine arts. So just be aware of those types of things within. You should know what composes the party. All right, that is, there is the inner party, which seems to be the rich, and slightly at this point mysterious. They wear black overalls. Then there's the outer party, which Winston is a part of. And he wears blue overalls. They're more of the, you see more of them. They have far more toiling lives. They work endlessly hard. You should also be familiar with the proles. They categorize the proles as free. I should say proles are free, which wouldn't be bad if it wasn't for the slogan of the party, of course. So these are things that you should all be aware of. They dress how they want, they dress as they please. You should, of course, know the slogan of the party in its specific order. All right. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. The next part of our test is 25 multiple choice questions. With 2 points apiece, so it's 50 points. And this is on a variety of information about the text, about the author, all about those things. So you want to make sure you know things such as, like, where did Winston live? Where did Winston work? And of course, those are, very basic, simple answers, but, the fact that Winston lives in Victory Mansions is important. And how might we describe Victory Mansions? Victory Mansions is described as kind of run down, falling apart, smells. Right? It's kind of the most awful, horrible place imaginable. Victory is not the only thing that is applied to the mansions. A lot of things have victory in front of it to kind of make it sound more elegant than it actually is. So you have things like Victory Gin, and Victory Coffee, and Victory Cigarettes. So all of those things further develop some of these ideas. Right. You should know about George Orwell, as we spent some time talking about who he is and his life. You should know, of course, that he was critical of communism, pro-socialism, that he despised liars, oops, misspelled, liars, can't spell today, so sorry, despised liars, cant, cruelty in life and in literature. Which is, again, we've talked about the irony of the situation, because in many ways, alright, this text seems particularly cruel. Right? You should know any type of other slogan that pops up. Such as like the nursery rhyme, like orange and lemon say the bells of St. Clements, those kind of things. You should know all about Winston's diary. You should know some of the characters we've met throughout the story. Mr. Parsons, or Comrade Parsons, technically. Right. Mrs. Parsons, also technically Comrade Parsons. Characters like Syme, O'Brien. Characters that have been mentioned, but we don't necessarily know too much about them, like Big Brother or Emmanuel Goldstein. Yeah, so all of that is information you should definitely know. This is where your VNOTES will come in handy, alright? Talking about certain terminology, such as the 2-minute hate, alright, which I explain in the Chapter 1, Section 1 VNOTES, alright, and talking about how people get angry, and any of the aspects of Goldstein are also discussed in there. So you want to make sure you have these readily available, because the information within them is very, very good. So just keep that in mind. And that's that. I'm trying to point you in a very specific direction. Do know about the sexualization of the book. We've spent some time talking about that. All right. We know how Winston feels towards that girl, towards the dark-haired girl. All right, and how Winston describes her red sash as odious. You definitely want to know all about his escapades and thinking about her and kind of violently abusing her, because it's important to the text, and a handful of questions will appear on it. You'll also want to know certain things like the Junior Anti-Sex League and ARTSEM, artificial insemination, that they focus on within the text. Winston's encounter with the prostitute. And how vile that whole scenario was. These are just some of the types of questions. Again, more of this is in depth in your VNOTES. Talking about, certain locations such as Golden Country, or talking about the frowsy little junk shop that Mr. Charrington owns, things like the physical jerks. All of that appears on the test, so you want to make sure you know that. Some things that are covered in the VNOTES that I just don't have the time to explain here to get into full depth, but are fully explained there, are things like the Chestnut Tree Cafe, and what's the purpose of it, and who went there. We know that the cafe's purpose is to kind of have certain people express themselves. Artists, we know saboteurs went there, Goldstein frequented there. Alright, so know the information within the Chestnut Tree Cafe. We know some of, like, the nursery rhyme that was kind of shouted about. So, under the spreading chestnut tree, I sold you and you sold me. I sat with my head in your hands and I said, made you a promise, we'll do it again. So these are things that have come up, at least in some part, in Section 1, and you should know them and know them well. The last two parts are fairly straightforward. The second to last section is a true or false. And this is, again, quizzed on things within the text that I've described. But you definitely want to know what type of fiction this is. That is, it's dystopian, science fiction. The names of locations, the fact that London is still London, but England is now known as Airstrip 1, and we're on the continent of Oceania. Alright, those are things you should be familiar with. Again, emphasizing the importance of Winston's diary. The last part, as promised, is a reading comprehension, so there's no essay this time around, because you have the reading comprehension. The reading comprehension will be an excerpt from the text, as we've practiced a couple of these. These will, though, be multiple choice questions. So you won't have to pick out an individual sentence. So you'll read the section as per the usual, and it'll say which sentence best explains the purpose of this or that or this character, or which best illustrates the main idea, and I give you a list of options. So you've seen this before, we've done this in class, but be aware of it. You might have to know some definitions, so any of our 1984 definitions, and I'm not saying mull over these, but I might ask you the context within the sentence, so you'll have some reading comprehension clues within the text, but you'll definitely see a word or two from those 1984 words that we've gone over. And then that's pretty much it. So study, review your VNOTES. Your study guides will be extremely helpful in all of this information. Extra help, of course, is always readily available, so please come see me ask questions if you're confused about anything, and I wish you the very best of luck. Be sure to bring a number 2 pencil. It is Scantron 50 multiple choice questions. So good luck, and I will see you guys tomorrow.